Dear students, let us begin the second part of the lesson on foreign policy with its definition, concept and nature. Foreign policy is the decisions or strategies a country makes to achieve a set of interests or goals in its interaction with the international community, including states, non-state actors and international organizations. It is one of the greatest instruments at a state's disposal to pursue its national interest. National interest can be simply defined as all the needs or desires of a state, such as the protection of its territory from external threats, preservation of political independence, national development, etc. A good foreign policy would lead a state to fulfill its national interest. Thus, foreign policy is considered as one of the wheels with which the process of international politics operates. The aim of foreign policy of every state is to achieve its national interest. National interest tends to change according to the domestic and international situations. Hence, foreign policy is not always constant, but it is dynamic in nature. Foreign policy has given different definitions by scholars as follows. Foreign policy, according to Hartman, I quote, is a systematic statement of deliberately selected national interest. According to George Modelsky, he defines foreign policy, I quote, as the system of activities evolved by communities for changing the behavior of other states and for adjusting their own activities to the international environment. Foreign policy must throw light on the ways states attempt to change and succeed in changing the behavior of other states, end quote. Joseph Frankl opines that, I quote, foreign policy consists of decisions and actions which involves to some appreciable extent relations between one state and others, end quote. Ford and Lincoln state that, I quote, a state's foreign policy is a totality of its dealings with the external environment. Foreign policy is the overall result of the process by which a state translates its broadly conceived goals and interests in specific courses of action in order to achieve its objectives and preserve its interests, end quote. Gibson argues, I quote, foreign policy is a well-rounded, comprehensive plan based on knowledge and experience for conducting the business of government with the rest of the world. It aims at promoting and protecting the interests of the nations. This calls for a clear understanding of what those interests are and how far we hope to go with the means at our disposal. Anything less than this falls short of being a foreign policy, end quote. According to C.C. Rodi, foreign policy involves the formulation and implementation of a group of principles which shape the behavior pattern of a state while negotiating with other states to protect or further its vital interests. Each scholar defined foreign policy as the behavior of one state with another. Foreign policy is formulated on the basis of certain principles and objectives in order to achieve its national interests. A country makes use of every advantage in the international environment to achieve its national interest through foreign policy. Therefore, foreign policy is an instrument with which a state can uphold its position in the international arena. Let us look at the concept of foreign policy. Foreign policy is a broad and very important concept in the study of international relations and diplomacy. Foreign policy encompasses and establishes diverse disciplines across diplomacy, political science, international relations and many more. This multidisciplinary nature of foreign policy raises challenges in understanding and definition of the concept of foreign policy. Nature of foreign policy can be aggressive, normal or cordial because it is not always the same with every country, and it tends to change according to the time, condition and interest of the country. For instance, when the deadly virus corona broke out, every country closed its borders, shut down airways, stopped trade and transactions and isolated from each other. The primary concern was to protect its borders from the spread of the pandemic without even considering about the economy of the state. The interest of each state was to defend its people's health from the attack of the virus, which was a common enemy. Foreign policy helps in understanding how decision makers perceive challenges and opportunities in their external and internal environments, and how these perceptions guide actions towards other governments. In general, foreign policy may be explained as the sum total of all decisions and actions that states undertake and pursue towards the external environment to achieve the national interest. Foreign policy is formulated by states through the representatives like national leaders or foreign affairs ministry or even the embassies and high commissions. Foreign policies are made and pursued for the attainment of the national interest. The foreign policy decision making process involves two stages, the formulation stage and the implementation stage. It is also carried out in the domestic and external environment. Foreign policy are not made in a vacuum. There are objectives for pursuing every foreign policy decision. The objectives may be as follows: to protect sovereignty and territorial integrity, welfare of citizens, economic sufficiency, enhance their prestige and status. The policies are influenced by time, issues concerned and personalities involved. The foreign policy decisions mainly fall under the two categories, one is realistic, the other one is idealistic. I hope these concepts are clear to you. We will continue in the next video. Thank you.